Hi, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're listening, and welcome to Mrs. Mummypenny Talks. It is we're on to episode 16 of series 2 of my podcast. Can't believe I'm on episode 16 already. That means my first series of Mrs. Mummypenny Talks, which was on the radio station, I had maybe 52 episodes. So that means I'm up to 68 episodes. That's pretty good. It's pretty good going, isn't it? So yes, it is 14th of January. So what I want to have a chat to you about today is something that I've written quite a bit about the past sort of few weeks, or certainly on my Instagram, is my SAD, my Seasonal Affective Disorder. So I want to have a bit of a chat to you about how it manifests itself and how it makes me feel, but then how I am sort of beating it in January, because my SAD is pretty bad in October, November, December, but then I managed to kick it out in January. So I want to share sort of what happened and how I fix it. I also want to have a bit of a chat about self-employment. So I wrote a great post about, and it all links into the SAD stuff actually, is how I used to find January really, really difficult because it was the new year and I was going back to a job I didn't like. So I've written my sort of gratitude and love to self-employment and the freedom it gives me. And it all combines into being a positive effect. But the very first thing I want to talk about, because this is a money podcast, is don't forget, today is the last day where you can sign up to Chip and get your free £10. You're not going to get a free tenner from many places, are you? So Chip, it's a great little auto-saving tool which sits on an app on your phone, connects into your bank account, and it keeps a check on how you're spending, what your balance is, and if you've had a good spending week and you've got a positive balance, it will squirrel away some money into an account that's held at Barclays, so it's all very safe. It's a great auto-saving tool where money goes without you having to do anything, and often without you even noticing, and before you know it, you've got a nice big balance built up for all sorts of exciting things in the future, maybe for Christmas, or maybe for hi Kirsty, I've just seen your face pop up on my screen. Really great savings tool, but today's the last day to get your free tenner. So search for the app on the your Apple iStore, your Google Play, and put in the code Mummypenny10. After a couple of auto transfers, your £10 will be credited to you. Lovely. We can all do with a free tenner in January, can't we? It's a great tool anyway. So I urge you to download Chip. So back to seasonal affective disorder. So it's a bit of a pattern each year. It's been quite consistent the last few years with when it affects me and when it switches off. But I had and on reflection, I can look back now to sort of particularly November, December time, and I can see how much of an impact it had on me, and what I was sort of doing to my body as a result of it. So seasonal affective disorder, it's where the days get shorter. There's less sunshine, there's less vitamin D around, so it really impacts on a lot of people's moods. Particularly impacts me a lot in the latter months of the year. So I suppose for me it's when the days are closing in, because obviously they peak at the shortest day in December. But what I did last year, which sort of made it a lot worse on reflection, now I can see that, is I was eating really badly and I wasn't doing any exercise. So on a pretty much daily basis, I was sabotaging myself with convenience food. I'd be I wasn't doing sort of weekly shops to look after myself with good nutritious food. I was doing like daily shops in the co-op, and picking up silly things like a big bar of Maltesers, Malteser. I remember that one because that's one I bought a lot. A tub of ice cream, a big packet of crisps, and I would literally sit at home and eat them all during the day. I can't imagine how many calories I was consuming on a daily basis, but it manifests itself to make you feel even worse. And I got stuck into a pattern of each day is a new day, so why not just have another day of eating the same rubbish? And it was just making me feel worse and worse and worse. I wasn't doing very much exercise. I carried on with my personal training till November, but then I stopped in December, so that wasn't helping either. I wasn't out running. And why did it happen? So, because it was quite an extreme form of it last year. Why? I think so. So lots of things are going on in my life. I won't share too much about it on here, but yeah, quite a lot of turmoil at home, and I was feeling like quite a lot of stuff was out of my control. And the only thing I could actually control was what I bought from the co-op and what I put in my mouth. That's my self-psycho analysis there. Yeah, so I was pretty sick of it by the time Christmas came along. Actually, I had a really nice Christmas. Glad that I organised to go see my family in Cornwall. And then we get to January, and I've been able to do this the last couple of years, and I've done it again this year. It's switch just like that into then the first thing I change is eating the right food and doing exercise, and that's had an immediate impact on my mood and my positivity, and my planning forward and my sort of expectations for the year. And it makes complete sense, doesn't it, that if you put goodness into your body, and I intended to cut out a lot of stuff. It hasn't actually worked out quite that way, but I have cut out caffeine, alcohol, and red meat since the beginning of January. I also intended to cut out sugar and dairy, but I've struggled a little bit with the dairy in particular. Sugar's not so bad. I haven't really eaten too much of that. Yeah, so I've been eating lots of really good fruit and vegetables, lots of fish, lots of things like lentils, and I think I've mentioned if you're on my website, and certainly last week I signed up to Mindful Chef, just to get some like healthy goodness into my system. So last night, the dinner I cooked, it had butternut squash, tomatoes, carvello, like leaves, like sort of like carvello cabbage, and some fish, with like sunflower seed, salsa verde. So it had like 3 or 4 portions of my fruit and veg in it. It was amazing, really, really nice dinner, and I've really enjoyed cooking it as well. So that's made a really big help. And I thought I went for the recipe box option because I wanted to have like a bit of a treat, that even though it's like, it is really healthy food, you feel like you're having a treat at the end of the day, so you don't feel so restricted, with a diet. So yeah, it's working well. I can feel the weight is coming off, so that's all good, and I've started back running again. Yay. I just had to go out and do it. I did it, and it wasn't that bad. Managed a 5k run in a pretty shocking time, but can only get better. But yeah, it's all combining into beating this SAD. And sorry, my computer just switched off. There we go. Yeah, it's all combining into beating the seasonal affective disorder well. So if you're suffering from it at the moment, maybe you're the opposite way around to me. You're okay in November, December, and you struggle in January, February. Really, really like focus on the food and the nutrients you're putting into your body. It will make you feel better. Fish is really, really good. Green vegetables, packs full of vitamins, and yeah, just get out into the fresh air, and even if it's just a really long walk, but yeah, try to do it. I'm a little bit limited with my exercise because I have hurt my shoulder. I am indicating to the video, obviously this is no good for the podcast, but I've really hurt my shoulder. I'm struggling to do any sort of movement with my arm, so the only exercise I can do is running. So yeah, SAD is a bit of a nasty thing when it hits you, but it's so nice to feel that I'm pulling out of it. But yeah, the other thing about January, which I always, if I'm ever feeling a little bit like, miserable, don't wanna do much today, I just think about how it was when I used to have to do that commute into London. And I always reflect back to sitting on the train, looking out the window and just sitting there thinking, I really don't want to go into work. I really don't want to do this job anymore. I can't see a way out. So I always reflect back now to the position I'm in now and just sort of think of how grateful I am for the business I set up. And yeah, it's taken years, 5 years. It hasn't taken 5 years to get it to a successful point of view. It's been 5 years till now, but it took a good 2 years to get it successful in the first place. But yeah, it's doing well, and it gives me this incredible lifestyle where I've got ultimate flexibility. I decide my workload. I can drop off the kids when I need to and take them to football when I need to. I've got no restrictions over me. I decide my diary for the day. I decide who to work with. I'm saying no to a lot of people at the moment. There's an awful lot of work coming through from like loan companies, gambling companies. I'd say maybe 2 offers a day of work, and they're always ridiculously high paid work because a lot of people won't do it. But yeah, they're a definite no for me. So yeah, it's just amazing to run this business and not have to go do that awful job in London that was paid, well paid. But yeah, I was very incredibly unhappy. So another thing that maybe leads to why January I can flip into sorting out my SAD. So yeah, hope that was a good sort of thing to listen to. And if you're suffering from it as well yourself, then try some of my coping strategies, or let me know if you do something different. I have tried things like taking vitamin D supplements, having a SAD lamp, but none of those things really seem to work. It is just as simple as healthy eating and exercise, which, surprise, surprise, does work. So yes, I shall be back again next week. Not sure what I'll be talking about, whatever's happened on my blog that week. Thank you for watching or listening, and I will see you soon. Bye.